Welcome to the Daily Thunder Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Rabar, beat writer for DailyThunder.com. Every week, we will have guests ranging from national sports writers and local reporters to OKC celebrities and Thunder staff and players. This week, our featured guest is the brilliant Thunder cartoon artist SportsToons, aka Steve Hill, Chief of Staff for OKC Mayor David Holt. This man has a vivid backstory. You gotta listen. We'll talk about the process behind his locally famous artwork, his favorite Thunder players to draw, and discuss his thoughts on this OKC team's chances in Orlando. We also chat with Daily Thunder contributor Ryan Woods about the Thunder's upcoming scrimmages and Andre Roberson's return. I am joined this week by Steve Hill. You know him as SportsToons on Twitter. I'm excited to talk to you, Steve, because you, my man, are a fascinating guy with a fascinating backstory.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, you draw cartoons and, that kind of lends itself to like superheroes and origin stories. And I found out your origin story and I was pretty blown away. So the history with that is, I would just go into it quickly. The mayor of Oklahoma City, David Holt, we had as a guest on the Daily Thunder podcast because he's a huge Thunder fan. So we got there a little bit early and we're setting up and you greeted us and, you said, "Hey, I'm Steve Hill. I'm the mayor's chief of staff." I was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, "Wait, that name sounds familiar. How do I know that name?" You're like, "Yeah, actually you already messaged me and mentioned about being on your podcast as well." I was like, "Wait, what?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm the SportsToons guy." And I was blown away. Like, what were the chances that this fun cartoon artist on Twitter that I love his work was some political bigwig? I had no idea.
Bigwig maybe a bit much, but yeah. I've got a regular day job. I do the cartoons on the side and have a lot of fun with it.
So you're telling me that the cartoons don't pay the bills?
Not yet. No, they don't. They never have. So I'm not holding my breath now.
Trust me, Steve. I've been doing radio and sports journalism my whole career. So I had to marry to pay the bills.
Right. It's very similar. Very similar.
Yeah. So let's talk about. Do you call them your cartoons or do you call them drawings, your sketch? What do you call them for the rest of this interview? What would you like me to call them?
Yeah, cartoons is fine. And I've called them everything from doodles to drawings to cartoons, but cartoons is probably the most commonly used term.
So if anybody out there isn't following Steve right now on Twitter, go do it right now. Pause this podcast and follow him and check out his cartoons while you're listening to this because they are fantastic and I want you to be able to look at these. So tell me how you got into the cartoon game. Like, what's your history with drawing? Were you formally trained? Were you self-taught?
Yeah, that's a long story because I've been drawing all my life, and it's always been noticed that they were a little better than the other kids my age. But I first drew editorial cartoons, political cartoons, and I did that. I started at age 14. I actually got into a newspaper when I was 14. But then more as an adult, I went to the University of Oklahoma. I worked at the OU Daily. I was the cartoonist there. Managed to win a couple national awards for my cartoons. And
hey, wait. Let's not brush over that. I'm got to give you some pub here. What kind of national awards did you win?
Well, I got an SPJ. I won the regional award for SPJ for best collegiate cartoonist of whatever year that was.
Wow. So OU with another championship. Do they recognize that? Does OU, when they're talking about their Big 12 and Big 8 championships, do they mention Steve Hill?
They should. The interesting thing about that was it was the Southwest region, and the cartoonist at the University of Texas at the time was Burke Breathed, who went on to do Bloom County. And so I beat him that particular year in that particular realm. But
that is awesome.
Yeah, so I went from there, and then I kind of kicked around. Out of college, I worked as a sports editor at the Yukon Review and Mustang Mirror, and then I started doing editorial cartoons for the Oklahoma Gazette, and did that for a long time, probably 6, 7, 8 years. And then I moved into kind of doing sports stuff for a couple of reasons. One, that political cartoons tend to get you in more trouble than the sports cartoons. And I was trying to avoid trouble at the time. So I started doing sports stuff. And interestingly, a friend of mine is a cartoonist currently at the Omaha World Herald. He was doing sports cartoons for the Kansas City Star. And he had to quit the Star because he went full time with the World Herald. And so he recommended me to take his place at Kansas City. And so I did as a freelancer. Drew that cartoons, weekly mostly NFL cartoons and Royals cartoons for a couple of years, probably 3 or 4 years. And then Brett McMurphy, who you may follow on social media, is a college football sports writer. So Brett and I were high school classmates, and he kind of grabbed me and got me. He was working at the time at the Tampa Tribune, and so he pulled me over there, and I started doing twice weekly sports cartoons for the Tribune. And then Brett went to like a couple of internet, CBS Sportsline, and I think AOL for a while. And in each case, he brought me along with him. So I was doing cartoons. You know, I kind of made that transition from print to online at that point. And then I kind of dropped doing it, and I moved to Oklahoma City. I lived in Dallas for a while, moved back to Oklahoma City in 2010, and Thunder was here. And so I just decided I started doing Thunder cartoons, basically. And I'd kind of challenged myself to start it at about halftime and see if I could get them done, you know, right kind of close to the end of the game and get them out on Twitter where people could see them. And it was kind of just a personal fun thing for me. So that's kind of how the cartooning career went.
Like I said, fascinating backstory. Like there's so many layers to this. Like you've been to so many different publications, and I love that you know, at 14 years old, you're already in the political game. Then you grew up, you're like, yeah, get out of the political game. I'll do sports. That's more fun. And now you're back you're kind of living the double life. That always has a negative connotation. I don't mean it that way, right. but you know, you're doing politics as your day job, and then you're doing the cartoons with sports for the fun job. Do you prefer one over the other? Like, I mean, obviously you enjoy both of them, but I imagine art has always, you know, it sounds like from a very young age, been your passion, but then you're really into politics, or is it just kind of best of both worlds? Those are your two loves, like sports, politics, artwork, and so you're just kind of living the life.
Yeah, that's probably the latter is probably closest to the truth. I mean, the cartooning thing is just part of me. Like no matter what I'd be doing during the day, I'd still be doodling and drawing. I mean, from drawing funny pictures of teachers as a student in high school and junior high, which always got me in trouble because the drawings looked exactly like the teacher. So I couldn't just say, well, that's not what I meant. You know?
I see a running theme in this. You always get in trouble. It's funny, like, you know, I brought up superheroes and the origin story, and then kind of the more I learn of your origin story, I'm kind of turning out you might be a villain, Steve.
That's entirely possible. Entirely possible. Certainly a bad influence. But yeah, I've been fortunate. I've been in my role with the city of Oklahoma City for actually 10 years now. David Holt used to be the chief of staff for Mick Cornett, and then he ran for the state senate, won that seat. And so Mick Cornett, who I'd known from my time in Oklahoma City before, called me down in Dallas and said, hey, is this a position you'd be interested in? And at the time, it seemed to make sense for me. So I moved back up here and did it. And I liked working for Mick, and I love working for David. He's a one-of-a-kind, really, politician. And A, I'm paid to say that, but B, it's the truth. And I've got the best job in the city. It's just a joy to be at City Hall and watch Oklahoma City and the direction it's headed over the last decade. And then, like I said, working for David's just, he and I have a lot of fun. He's got a good sense of humor, and I've tried to have a sense of humor. And so there's a lot of laughter going on in the mayor's office.
That's great. I could tell, you know, when we went there to interview the mayor and got to talk to you and the mayor for a good hour, I could just sense that, you know, I'm not a big political guy one way or the other. I've always just kind of been a goofy sports guy and entertainment guy. So basically I base my politics on whether I like somebody's personality or not. And I like their character or not. And I told the mayor this when I interviewed him. I knew him back in the day from the Bethany Tribune when he was a senator, and I just liked him. I thought he seemed like a nice guy and a real guy. And so I was like, hey, whatever that guy does, I'll support him because he seems to have high character. So I can imagine that working with him and then knowing you as well, that you guys do have a lot of fun. I love the job that you guys are doing for the city. So just keep up the great work.
I appreciate that. Yeah, he's a combination. He's super smart, obviously, but he's one of the funniest people I know. And so, like I said, he and we crack each other up quite a bit and manage to keep things light. Even when we have situations like the pandemic and things like that are serious and require thoughtful approaches, you still need to have a sense of humor to keep you kind of grounded.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially during this time more than any other. Now I'm curious, do more people know you as the mayor's chief of staff, or do more people know you as the SportsToons guy?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's two completely separate audiences, and I realized that early on when I started I had the SportsToons Instagram and Twitter name first. And every once in a while, I'd throw in something about the city. Hey, isn't this great that this is happening in the city, blah, blah, blah. And I noticed that nobody cared. It's like the SportsToons fans, they want to know about sports, and that's it. And so I got myself a different Twitter name for its city-related things. But yeah, it's funny that it's like two different audiences. And sometimes like you, when I fess up to what I'm up to, people are like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, you just wouldn't expect it. I mean, I think it's one of those things like anything else. You follow a certain person, on Twitter or Instagram, whatever social media, and you kind of know them through that one role. And so you wouldn't expect, like, if I just kind of unleashed that, I just kind of dropped on you like, oh yeah, by the way, I do community theater as well, and you can check me out this week at Lyric Theater. Or,
I can totally see that though.
Well, it's funny. I brought that up because I actually do. Like, I have done some local theater. Like, that was like my minor in college. But people wouldn't expect that because I'm just like the sports guy, right? So
right.
You wouldn't expect this other layer. Yeah, so I get that. It makes sense. Now, I got to know. So you've drawn so many big stars, whether it be basketball. I know that you do hockey. I know that you do college football. Those are kind of the three main ones, right? You kind of focus on the Thunder, I think the Dallas Stars, and OU football, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Throwing in some energy stuff here lately.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Oklahoma City Energy, that's right. So of all the people that you've drawn, whether it be those sports or maybe you've dabbled in something else, what's the biggest star that's either liked your stuff or retweeted it or acknowledged it or told you they really liked your work?
Good question. Well, Andre Roberson, he's actually pinged me, and I did. He asked for like a specific drawing, and I did that for him. Was happy to do it. Ennis Cantor has always been good.
Nice. Yeah.
That's about it for the Thunder. The Stars, their whole front office. I think hockey gets a short shrift right in the sports world because it's NFL, NBA, baseball, and then hockey's kind of out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm doing hockey cartoons, it's elevated a bit within the sport. And so the Stars front office has been great. And a lot of the media guys down in Dallas follow me. So that's cool. And then the other day, Kristen Chenoweth liked something. So that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you draw Kristen Chenoweth?
I have in the past. Yeah. And she liked it. It was kind of a funny exchange.
Nice. So what was the exchange?
Oh, I just, out of the blue, I just got this note from her like, oh, I love that drawing, whatever. So I just, it's just, you don't expect, I kind of expect to hear occasionally from the athletes or from the media people, but I never expect to hear from Kristen Chenoweth. So
right. No, that's great. No, I know that Kristen Chenoweth, also a huge Thunder fan and very, very vocal about it, which everybody in Oklahoma City obviously loves. I know that the Thunder, didn't they bring you in and kind of wine and dine you and I don't remember her name, but I know she's Asian.
Yeah,
Japanese. Yes.
Yes. They wined and dined her. They haven't wined and dined me. I keep thinking that I'm going to start doing like Yomiuri Giants cartoons to see if I can get some free trip to Tokyo out of it.
That would be amazing. Good call. So what's your, was the Christian Chenoweth exchange kind of the biggest, thrill you've got throughout all this? Is that kind of like the biggest like whoa moment for you?
No, the one that excited me maybe the most was Marty Turco, who used to be a goaltender for the Stars. I did a cartoon of him, and he commented on it, and then he put it to use it as his avatar, and I thought that was kind of cool.
That is really, really cool. And, going back to the Thunder, I can see Dre and Cantor be two of the guys that would reach out to you because they're two of like the nicest,
Yeah,
true,
absolutely.
genuinely humble, good dudes. I could see them really reaching out to you and thanking you for that. So I know I've taught you before, you don't sell your work, but I'm curious, your work is so good. You've got to get offers from people, right? Like people have
Well,
probably like hit you up and be like, hey, how much to, buy a print, or, hey, will you do this drawing for me? How much would you charge? That kind of thing.
yeah, I've been doing this now for, like I said, almost 10 years, goofing around with it. And for the longest time, I kind of intentionally wanted to keep it a fun hobby that didn't have deadlines or any kind of responsibility. And so that's why I didn't do that. But every once in a while, it wasn't uncommon for a couple times a month, someone to hit me up and say, "Hey, could you draw me or my kid?" And for a long time, I just did that. I'd say, "Yeah, I'll do that," and they'd say, "How much?" And I go, "I'll just do it for you." And then that became kind of a problem because I got too many people asking me to do it. And so I put together a little website, and it's the links on the Twitter thing. And if someone wants a commission piece, they can just handle it easily there. I don't have to. I've never been very good at the business end of cartooning. The price is on there, and the terms and everything, and it's all automated and it pays through PayPal. So there's no really business that I have to attend to other than just drawing something should someone choose to pursue that. But
Well,
I still, from time to time, like a friend, if it's a friend, I'm not going to charge friends for stuff. So
Well, that is great to hear because this is all my long-winded way of asking you to draw me to use as my new profile picture and all my
happy to do
branding
that.
on Twitter.
I'll be happy to do it.
Check out shopgoodokc.com to pick out a gorgeous hand-printed shirt. They have a Daily Thunder collection featuring the 6th Man of the Year, DT logo tees, and a Together and Struggle print, which is also a part of the Solidarity collection that reps support for local businesses and the OKC community during the current crisis.
Hi, this is Olivia Punchal, senior writer at Daily Thunder and co-host of our new show Crossbolts. Tune into Crossbolts weekdays on Twitter and Instagram as Brandon and I debate everything from Thunder basketball to NBA fashion. Then chime in with your own opinion and let us know who won the debate. But let's be honest, it's probably me. Now back to the Daily Thunder podcast.
So, with the Thunder, is there a particular drawing that you're most proud of? Like when you look back on all the ones, you've done so many great ones. Is there any that stick out in your head? Like, yeah, I really like that one. Or is there a favorite player for you to draw?
Oh yeah, the favorite player question's easy. It's Steven Adams.
I thought so. Just based on your work.
Yeah, he already looks like a cartoon character, right? So, and he's got such a great personality. The other day he's going for a feed. Just stuff like that is fun.
He basically writes the angles for you.
Yeah. So yeah, he's fun. Any cartoon that has Steven Adams in it was fun to draw. I like doing Chris Paul now. I'll tell you, with the Chris Paul acquisition, I don't think I've ever been so impressed and had my perception change so much on a player as I have Chris Paul. To come in here when he did, and at that stage in his career, and there's a lot of ways you can handle that, and to do what he's done and be a leader not only on the team but kind of in the community, that's been super impressive.
Yeah, I've confessed myself that I become a hypocrite. He made me a hypocrite pretty early on once he became a member of the Thunder, because I used to, talk about what a flopper he was and what a whiner he was and all those things. And now I'm like, man, he's just a savvy veteran. He's just smarter than everybody else. He's just I completely see him differently now. But I do think at the same time, obviously you look at things differently when he's on your team. But I do truly think that he has kind of gone back to, the guy that everybody loved early on in his career, maybe before his time with the Clippers and Rockets kind of, I'd say tainted his view from some people. But I think that is the case. I think that, those markets or those teams or the situations, he just kind of wasn't the same guy he was early on in the career. And I think he really has gone back to being this guy that everybody genuinely likes, even if he's not on your team. I mean, he's completely changed his perception, and it's been really impressive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, and the way he's taken this, he's in the perfect position because he's got this relatively young team that's basically, I mean, Coach Donovan's there obviously, but it's kind of Chris Paul's team in some regards, right? The way that he's mentoring these kids.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that really is the case. I think that Donovan obviously deserves a lot of credit. But man, Chris Paul, between taking these young guys under the wings and being a mentor not only on the court but off the court, I mean, every guy to a man has said what a great influence on the locker room he is. Which is funny because again, with the Rockets and Clippers, he was supposedly a bad locker room guy, and it couldn't be more opposite here with Oklahoma City. So before I let you go, though, tell me what you think about the Thunder restarting, the NBA restarting, and this team. What do you think of their chances and just this team overall as we start basketball again?
Well, this team's been a blast to watch. And I had the advantage when I was in Dallas. I was a Mavericks season ticket holder. So you see, the team went from the big three they had for years to then they brought in Dirk and Nash. And so that these things are cyclical. And you know that each team brings its own kind of narrative and its own points of interest. And so when Russ left and the team seemed to be about to blow up, I knew that they're going to bring these new guys in and people are going to fall in love with these guys too. I thought they'd be good. I didn't think that was a bad team when you look at them on paper. I think they played better than I thought they would. And, there's nothing better than watching a basketball team that has real chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as good as the game gets, regardless of the outcomes of the games. When you got five guys that are all, on the same wavelength and seem to like each other, it's fun to watch that. And so I saw someone say, that the team they wouldn't want to play in this kind of abbreviated playoff thing is the Thunder. And I kind of agree with that. I think they're capable of beating anyone.
I really do think that they're the team that's, of all the teams that's not a top 2 seed, the overwhelming favorites like the LA teams or the Bucks or the Celtics maybe. I think Thunder is the most dangerous team of all those guys because, like you said, the chemistry and the top-end talent is there, across the board, and the lineups that they're able to do with that three-point guard lineup between Paul and Shea and Schroeder, and there's such balance. And if Andre Roberson does come back, even as 80% of himself, that's a big help because maybe the one weakness was, depth as far as wings go with some experience. And then so if Dre comes back and he's, at all himself, that's a big boost as well. They're a wild card. If I'm a top team, I'm a little afraid going to a series with the Thunder just because there's a chance those guys could put it together for a 7-game series and that talent and chemistry wins out.
Yeah, and I know everyone's playing basically on a neutral court, but I think you would look at it like you're playing an away game every game. And the Thunder's been really good in away games this year.
Yep, that's exactly right. They really have been. And that was going to be, I thought, a strength, in a normal playoffs, but it could still be a strength, like you said, because this is just going to be a bizarre no-fan scenario. So if you got a team that's both good at home and they've been so good on the road, that's just a team that's going to play good regardless of the atmosphere or the surroundings. So it makes Oklahoma City dangerous.
It's the other thing, like you said, with no fans, it turns it into basically a pickup game, right?
Yep.
And so you want guys out there that are ballers, and I think Oklahoma City's got those players. They show up at a gym and they're just going to play hard and win. They don't need a big crowd to get them going. So I think it'll be interesting.
So can we expect some more cartoons during the playoffs? Are you like, oh man, I got to ramp it back? Like when the Thunder season is ramping back up, you're like, oh, I got to get back into game shape myself. Have you been kind of practicing your doodles and all that stuff, kind of get yourself into game shape?
I've been practicing my cartoon moves. You're absolutely right. I mean, I'm excited though, because not only the NBA is doing their thing, the NHL starts about the same time. So there's going to be finally a lot of sports to watch.
I love it. Steve, you're doing a great job, not only in the mayor's office, but with SportsToons as well. Keep up the great work in both areas. Follow him at SportsToons. Steve, thank you so much for joining us on the Daily Thunder podcast. And thank you for all the great work that you're doing.
No, thank you so much for having me on. I enjoy your podcast, and I also enjoy following you on Twitter and your coverage of the Thunder. So keep up the good work yourself.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that, truly. Joining us now on the Daily Thunder podcast, I don't even know what to call you. Contributor isn't exactly the right word for what you do with Daily Thunder. You are a contributor, but you're more than that. What exactly is your role with Daily Thunder, Ryan Woods?
15th man, I would say. I've been doing a lot of Bolt stuff, going back to started doing some primer stuff during the 14-15 season, and jumped back in this year doing some Bolt stuff and some primer stuff. So if there's a game, there's probably something I'm getting ready for it.
And before we get into the Thunder about to start the scrimmages, and then we got the 8 games and then the playoffs, before we talk about that, though, I do want to talk a little bit about your history with Daily Thunder, because you are doing all those things now, but you have a history with Daily Thunder with Royce Young. Tell us what you did before.
I was at ORU, where I went to college, and was looking to just get my feet into anything I could, and that had to do with the Thunder, and basically just talked Royce's ear off until he was like, yeah, sure, I got to let this guy do something. So I started doing pregame stuff, summer league preseason and into the 14-15 year, the year that everybody was hurt.
Right.
Where they missed the playoffs. That year I did all the pregame stuff and some roundtable stuff with John Hamm and the usual suspects. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to have you back in the fold at Daily Thunder. And I just want to pick your brain. The Thunder scrimmages, actually, when this podcast releases, I believe it'll be on Thursday or Friday. So the first scrimmage against the Celtics is going to happen either today or tomorrow when you're listening to this. Tell me your thoughts on this team. Let's just take a few subjects that kind of the hot points right now. Andre Roberson. 1, do you think he's going to play? And 2, how do you think he's going to look? Like, what do you expect from Dre?
I think he'll play. It seems like all signs are pointing that direction, and everybody seems super high on what they've seen so far, which is incredibly encouraging. It's been 30 months since he played a basketball game. It's crazy to think that we'll get to see him this week. With how thin Oklahoma City's been this year in the front court, like the margin for error, like having people healthy, like Gallo going down for any length of time could have really, really dinged this team this year. So I think there are minutes for him, especially if they're going to ease him back in after tweaking the ankle. I think you could see Dre play quite a bit this first game. I don't think they'll just throw him on Tatum for 40 minutes, but I think he'd be great to see him against Kemba for a few minutes, against Jalen, against Tatum. I think it's a great matchup to see what he's got.
And he's obviously going to be rusty. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, Michael Jordan, when he took off a couple years to play baseball, he came back rusty. I mean, you're human. It's going to happen. But that said, he does have this training camp underneath him. He has been working out, and he's been saying he's ready to go for a little while now. If he gets put on Kemba or Jaylen Brown or Tatum and has some success, I think the hype is already kind of bubbling over. I think it'll just go through the roof on Dre as far as Thunder fans go, right?
The first miss he creates or turnover he causes or just play that he kind of diagnoses before everyone else and explodes the possession, I think it's Thunder Twitter is going to be on fire when that happens. And it's deserved for the fans, because the fans have been waiting to see him. If the ones that have been holding out hope for Roberson are going to be very vindicated when he's out there this week. And yeah, he's going to be definitely rusty, but I think a capable defender, even at him 70%, he's going to be able to be effective. And against a team that's pretty perimeter heavy, I think he's going to bode well.
Yeah, I've been saying, I said on Twitter, I think my magic number is 75 or 80% of Roberson is still better than basically anybody outside of that core 5 or 6 guys the Thunder can count. Obviously, Chris Paul, Shea, Gallo, Adams, Schroeder, and then Noel. Besides that, I mean, you got Dort in there, but to me, still, 80%, as much fun as Dort is, and as high as I am on his future, I still think that 80% of Roberson is better than Dort. And I'm just excited. Like you said, fans will go crazy. The first, defensive turnover he causes or steal he gets. Of course, there'll be haters, though. If he misses a couple free throws or he misses a 3 badly, there's going to be some people chirping. But I think for the most part, Thunder fans are just going to be psyched to see him out on the court, regardless of what happens.
And wouldn't it be good to, if Donovan dusted off that baseline cut alley-oop play for he and Chris Paul to run like first play out?
Dude, that was seriously that was some good offense. Russ and Robertson had that down, Pat. That was an easy like 4 to 6 points every single game. You could count on it, because people kind of and Chris Paul. I mean, if you want one point guard in the history of the game to find a guy that's a good cutter and can find ways to create offense for a guy that can't shoot but is really athletic and can finish a lob, Chris Paul is the guy you want working with Roberson.
And it's the play he got hurt on. I would love to see him run it again and let him finish it. It'd be sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, another big talking point, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, there's been a lot of buzz, obviously, about him all season. The leap that he took this year and him being the future cornerstone of the franchise. But also some buzz the last couple of days from the media pressers when guys are starting to say, like Noel said, man, you guys haven't even seen it yet. He looks even better after these few months off. He came back improved. And then Presti himself alluded to the same thing today. Donovan has said it. And to hear it from Presti, because he kind of guards his words, and he's not one for hype, but even he said that he was improved, and he mentioned his playmaking and his body. What do you expect from Shai? Do you expect, this is kind of an off season, really, when you look at the length. And if he was coming back for his 3rd season, instead of looking at it as the end of this season, we'd be like, oh man, what Shai got in store for us this year? What kind of leap is he going to take? So do you expect another leap over these scrimmages and 8 games and playoffs for Shai?
Absolutely. If he's done nothing but play basketball for 4 months, which it sounds like that's what he's been doing, it would be hard to not notice some big improvements in his game. I think it was Nerlens today said the game seems to have slowed down for him. And I remember in Durant's MVP year, that seemed to be the thing that people said the most was the game has gotten even slower for him. He's able to read things much, much better. And Shai's on the move. He's going to be I think he's going to really, really show out in the bubble. And if the team is seeing it, and no one knows his game more than that team. And for the quotes to come out of the team like this, I think we're in store for something really awesome from Shai.
I think so too. And, even as a rookie last year with the Clippers in that first round series against the Warriors, I mean, he stepped up his game in the playoffs. That's the kind of guy that you want that gets better when the lights get brighter. And Shai showed that as a rookie. So I can't wait to see what he's got for us this season. So what do you expect from these scrimmages? Do you expect just, you think the Thunder care about winning at all? You think that this is just managing minutes, getting, these guys shaking the rust off? Like, we're not looking at final scores. What are you looking at? Are you looking at minutes? Or are you just like looking at the young guys and improvement? Are you looking for chemistry? What are you looking at in these scrimmages?
I'd say chemistry for sure. Are they back to where they were? They were on such a great trajectory heading into the stoppage that it was kind of a bummer to see them have to stop playing games, because it seemed like they were rattling off win after win. So getting that chemistry back, getting the timing back, getting the camaraderie back, which seems to be there, seems to have never left. And then just seeing Dre, seeing what they do with his minutes, seeing what they do with Dort. Does Roberson start? Does Dort start? I think we'll see this is what it'll look like when Schroeder's not here lineups, and deciding who's going to take those minutes and who's going to fill in the backup point guard and how they're going to stagger stuff. I do think we'll see some of that, and I think Donovan will toy around with all sorts of ideas over the 3 games, because like you're saying, the score really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of getting everybody back into game shape.
Yeah, Olivia and I on our Cross Bolts segment discussed who should take the backup point guard minutes when Schroeder misses time. And I still think he'll only miss a couple of games because by the rules, he's got to test negative every day he's gone and then quarantine for 4 days. So I think he'll be gone for 6 to 7 days, maybe 3 games or so is what I'm expecting. I know a lot of Thunder fans are a little bit worried about that, but if it happens during the seeding games, that's fine. Just as long as they don't fall down to the 7 or 8 seed and have to play one of the LA teams, it'll be fine. If nothing else, maybe they drop to the 6th seed and get their first round pick back. And hey, all is good. But Olivia and I were kind of arguing. I would like to see Dort get some of those backup point guard minutes. He played point guard at Arizona State. He can handle the ball. I'd like to see. He's played off guard, with 3 ball handlers. Of course, he's not going to get the ball in his hands much with those guys. So I'd like to see him get a little responsibility just to see. We know what Shea can do, and he's going to get the reins eventually. But I'd really like to see Lou with the ball in his hands. What do you think Lou's, I don't want to say his ceiling, but do you think he has that capability? Do you think he's a guy that could eventually become the backup point guard if the Thunder move on from Schroeder?
Maybe. Schroeder's he's kind of filled in that Reggie Jackson, James Harden role of not just backup point guard, but the primary scorer off the bench. So that position it's been one that's kind of what the Thunder look for off the bench, and Lou doesn't necessarily fit that mold. So it will be interesting to see if they go that route. I do think it helps that he's got those skills because it allows you to start Roberson or just staggered Lou off the floor when Roberson's on to run that second unit, or just stagger Shea. Like you're saying, like it's not the end of the world if they fall to 6 and keep their pick and play Denver or Utah or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to see Lou get that shot, and it's something that we'll probably see in the scrimmages.
Yeah, for me, it's not even. I don't know that it would be successful, even necessarily. It may or may not be. I don't know. I just want to see what would happen.
He's definitely got the skill, the ball handling skill to run pick and roll with Nerlens, with whoever. It's just a matter of what does it look like when the ball leaves his hand? Does he have the command to reset things? Does he have the trust from his teammates to make it all work? But sure, yeah, he's got great speed, great ball handling ability.
Exactly. All right, before I let you go, Ryan, a prediction. What do you expect for the Thunder in Orlando when all is said and done? Where do you think they kind of end up slotting seed-wise, and where do you think they go in the postseason?
I think they finish in somewhere in that 4-5 matchup, and I think they win it. I would aggressively pick them over Utah or Houston right now, assuming Schroeder's there, assuming everybody makes it through the restart healthy. I think they've got what it takes to win a series and maybe make a little bit of noise in the second round.
Those are exactly my thoughts as well, so I don't have anything to add to it. If I did, I'd just be repeating what you said because I feel the same way. Ryan, thank you so much for the work that you're doing with Daily Thunder, and thank you for joining us on the Daily Thunder podcast. And just so everybody knows, you were the original Ryan at Daily Thunder because we have like 6 of them now. They're like everywhere. Like Ryans are like gremlins. Like you feed them after dark apparently, and they just start writing articles about the Thunder. It's great.
But it's a good name. We wear it proudly here.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bud. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for listening and for supporting the Daily Thunder podcast. If you leave us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts, we might just read it on the show. You can follow our guest, Steve Hill, at SportsToons, Ryan Woods at RyanWoods_, and you can follow me at Brandon Rubar as I cover the Thunder beat. If you subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/dailythunder, you'll receive early access to Daily Thunder content, including bonus podcast segments, the exclusive Weekend Edition newsletter, and other perks like free shirts, special pricing at local businesses, and more. This podcast is produced by Rachel Jameson. You can follow her at Rach Jameson. Help her out. Right now, the only ones following her are her mom and a bunch of bots. Send your questions and feedback to dailythunder@gmail.com and stay on dailythunder.com every day to catch the latest Thunder news, recaps, analysis, interviews, and nonsense.